We are surrounded on all sides, above and below, within and without, by love, protection, divinity, and magic. The circle is cast, and so it is. Hello. My name is Chelb. My pronouns are they, them. That was a really bad shuffle. What is with me in my shuffles lately? There we go. It's a little better. My pronouns are they, them, and this is Phasecraft Collective, your weekly check-in with the tarot to get the vibes, see what's possible, understand the energy floating around us for the week to come. If you're watching this on YouTube, you might say I have a slightly different setup going on here, a little angle change. I had a standing desk that stopped working. It was like an electric one. So I got rid of that on Facebook Marketplace and got a very cheap, much smaller manual standing desk and positioned it differently so that I can actually see my office around me so that my children can be in here with me and I can catch them before they get into too many wild shenanigans, as they did when I had my back turned towards them. So, anyway, that's what's going on. We're trying it. It's a little weird. It's a little different. But, hey, everything is a little weird and a little different right now. Coming out of Mercury retrograde, shadow period, and dumping right into eclipse season. So if you still feel like things are wacky and you're like, but Mercury retrograde is over, what is going on? We are in eclipse season. Our first eclipse is on the 17th for the next full moon, but we're already in that energy. So eclipses show us the things that we've buried. They take us down into the depths. They make us face our truths, and we love and hate them for it. So just know that if you're feeling weird, you're not alone. I'm feeling weird. We're all feeling weird, probably. With that being said, it's also starting to get into, finally, spooky season. I don't know about y'all, but spooky season is, in my very humble opinion, the best time of year. Season of the witch, if you will. And to honor said spooky season, I have my autumn class series, Season of the Witch, coming up in October. So we have a few weeks before it starts. The first class is on October 10th. And it's a series of 3 classes and a group spell circle to get you into witchcraft. They're perfect if you are a beginner or you've fallen off your practice or you're kind of still figuring things out. We start with Witchcraft 101, which goes over literally the basics of what being a witch even means and entails. We go into Spellwork 101 to teach you how to create your own spells. Then we have I'm blanking. Altar and Ritual. Actually, Altar and Ritual is the second class, and then Spellwork 101 is the third class. I switched those around. Altar and Ritual, which is one of my best-selling offerings. This will be my 3rd year in a row teaching it, which is all about altars, different kinds of altars, how to work with them, why we even work with them, and then on Halloween, on October 31st, we have a Samhain spell circle, which will be so fun. We'll learn about where Samhain comes from, the traditional ways that it has been celebrated, how people celebrate it today, and then we will do a group ritual, which will be so fun and exciting. I'm very excited for that. If you sign up for all 4, you get 10% off. So they're $25 a piece, all virtual over Zoom. All will have a replay available. But if you sign up for all 4, you can get them for $90. What a steal. So all that info and the link to do so is in the episode description. But let's see what the cards have to say for us today. Shall we get started? All right, we begin, if this is your first time here, by setting our container, calling the corners, casting a circle. So I'm going to invite you, if it feels safe and good to do so, to join me in closing your eyes. You might also just decide to let your gaze settle down at your cheeks or land somewhere else out in space. Whatever allows you to feel safe and held and present. And just take a couple of breaths here, feeling your shoulders rise and fall. Your ribs expand and contract. And feel into wherever your body is making contact with the ground, whether it be your seat in a chair, your feet on the floor, your back on a bed. Wherever your anchor point to the physical realm is, send your awareness there and feel yourself being held by gravity, by the earth. I'm going to call to the spirits and guardians of the elements, and as I name them, I invite you to imagine a circle of protection made from their essence rising around you. You might pour a circle of salts, or see a circle of stones or flowers or trees rise up from the ground. Maybe you ignite a ring of fire, carve a moat of flowing blue water. Maybe you put up a force field of air, a dome around you, keeping out all unwanted and negative energy. You might do any combination of these things or something else all together. I call to the spirits and guardians of the north of earth, the deepest roots and the tallest trees, the stardust that gave shape to this planet and to our bones. Hail and welcome. I call to the spirits and guardians of east, of air, of wind and breath, of thought and change. Hail and welcome. I call to the spirits and guardians of the south, of fire, of the life-giving sun, the powers of creation and destruction, cleansing and renewal. Hail and welcome. And I call to the spirits and guardians of the west, of water, of the oceans and our blood, the rivers and our sweat, the rain and our tears. Hail and welcome. We are surrounded on all sides, above and below, within and without, by love, protection, divinity, and magic. The circle is cast, and so it is. You can take a couple more breaths here. And whenever you are ready, you can open your eyes. One of my cats has decided to yell outside the door. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, because sometimes my microphone does a really good job of drowning them out, and sometimes it doesn't. Taco! Yeah? She wants a snack. But we're trying this new thing where we don't give them as many snacks so that maybe they eat their entire dinner. But I'm a softie. I love to give them snacks. But she might be out there and yelling, contributing her thoughts and opinions to this week's reading. And if that continues, I do hope you just enjoy it. So let's see what the cards have for us today. If this is your first time here, welcome. I hope that you still are enjoying it after the kind of chaotic intro that we've had. But I just shuffle the cards and let them fall out. I don't use spreads. I don't cut the deck. Sorry, I lost the plot there for a second. Bitch. Excuse my French. The Five of Pentacles is here. If you are a paid subscriber to my newsletter, I talked about the Five of Pentacles yesterday. We also have the Five of Swords. Okay. The energy is a little chaotic. The Tower. Fuck y'all. Gonna have to put the explicit tag on this one on YouTube. Oops. It's honestly amazing that I've made it this many weeks without really swearing all that much. If you have taken a class with me or gotten a reading from me, you know I have quite the mouth on me from time to time. But I read something once that people who swear are actually really smart. So I'm choosing to believe that that's me. Let's see here. We lost one. We had a card go down. And it's the Hermit. Wow. This is really interesting energy so far. Okay. Yeah, Taco's like, I feel it all the way out here. that might be it for us. One more. Okay. Okay. I'm laughing because we have the Ten of Swords. So, fun. But here's the thing. Here's what's really interesting about this energy so far. We start with the Page of Pentacles, followed by the Five of Pentacles, and then the Six of Swords. This is a little intense. This is a lot going on because we have the Page, which is oftentimes a really good or like really inviting and positive message of like new opportunity, new growth, new gain in the material realm. But then we have the Five of Pentacles, which comes up with both like physical and like financial health need our attention. And then the Six of Swords, indicating that something needs to be left behind. So what I'm really feeling here is this page is not necessarily saying like, hey, everything's good and cool right now, and we're, opening up to new opportunities, as much as it's saying now is the time to experiment and learn and try something different to help get yourself, your life, your, all your well-being, whether it be financial, mental, physical, under control. If not under control, then at least expanding. At least learning new ways and finding new paths and new tactics to help you move forward out of this feeling of, maybe it's lack or maybe it's ill health or whatever it is. And I talked about this again if you're a paid subscriber in my newsletter yesterday. The fives are a struggle, but they are a reminder that the struggle is temporary. And that's where we see the Six of Swords. And the Six of Swords is a departure. Oftentimes it does indicate like physically moving, physically leaving something. But also the swords have to do with our minds. This is a decision to release habits, things, ideas, people maybe, that don't serve or don't further your, again, well-being. Knowing that there are multiple kinds of well-being, as I've already said multiple times. So with this page, as you're exploring, like experimenting, seeing what can change, what needs to shift, recognizing that sometimes, wrong card, sometimes that means a difficult letting go, leaving behind, again, departure from what might be comfortable, not because it's actually, comforting, but because it's what we know. Yeah. So then we get in to the Five of Swords and the Seven of Wands. Where have you been fighting? Standing up for yourself, good, but have you been like technically succeeding, technically winning, technically getting what you thought you wanted or needed in one way or another, and yet been feeling unsatisfied with the outcome? The Seven of Wands is often talked about as like a really positive card. And I'm not saying it's not, because it has a lot to do with standing up for ourselves and like fighting for ourselves and all that good stuff. But if you look at the depiction on the card, the person fighting is not having a great time. Their face is like worn. Their hair is like messed up and looks like sweaty. Like, this is hard work, and sometimes you fight for yourself so hard that you forget that you still need other people. You find yourself alone at the end of what it is you're trying to do, which is exactly the energy of the Five of Swords too. The Five of Swords feels like winning a battle, but like not being satisfied with the end result, how I kind of already mentioned. And there's this like real energy of like feeling like you have to do something, but recognizing that where that has led you is not where you thought it would end. So again, we're going back to this like, what needs to change, what needs to shift in order for you to welcome other people. I say this a lot in my newsletter, but just in readings all the time too. We live in a very individualistic culture and society. But that's very, very recent. Even up until like the last 100 years, like think about what a family home is. We used to live in like multi-generational homes. It was normal for you to be an adult living with your parents, with your family. Like, not to say that that's like great and fun and like it doesn't have its problems, but like community used to be so much more of a tenet of society, even as recently as like 100 years ago, which I know feels like a long time ago, but it's really not. And now we feel like we have to do everything ourselves. We feel like we have to be the best. We feel like we have to come out on top and fuck what everybody else says, does, thinks. But in reality, that just leaves us feeling alone. Who do we share our success with without it being, a brag, right? So, from there, the Tower, the Hermit, and Judgment. What a banger of a trio, right? So the Tower, it's time to let go. It's time to release the idea that you have to be the one to do everything. The idea that your success is more important than anyone else's. The idea that you are solely responsible for every part of your life. It's time to let go of the idea that everything has to be perfect or that your life right now should look a certain way. And then your task, the Hermit, which you might be like, Chel, isn't the Hermit all about being alone? Being alone so that we can then find our authenticity and find authentic connection. Your task, once you dismantle how you thought things should be, is to decide how you want them to be in a way that works for you outside of societal expectations, right? The Hermit exists outside of society. They're weird. They're eccentric. They're different. And that attracts to them, that brings to them people who want to learn from them, people who are inspired by them. And then that brings in Judgment, which is this collective liberation, collective change. In 78 Acts of Liberation by Lane Smith, which I talked to them on Instagram Live 2 weeks ago about this book, which pairs the major arcana cards and all the cards, but mostly major arcana cards, with social justice and activism events in history. And Judgment shows up as the BDS, the Boycott, Divest, and Sanction movement. Because it's this alternative, but also more widely accessible way to protest and pressure. So again, it's this group action. It is this way to work together for everyone. Does that even make sense? Right? Oftentimes, I just open my mouth and let things come out. And it doesn't always totally make sense in the English language. But that's what I'm saying, is that the only time, the best thing we can do when we do have our time of solitude and reflection is to figure out how we can best work with others. Finding who we are so that we can better work with others. And then the judgment card, finding our place in community, in collective, to help create the world that we want to see. And that's where finally the Three of Pentacles. So all of this has been to build back better. The Three of Pentacles is all about creating, and I'm going to say it again, building something that aligns with the future that we want to see. And it's long work. The Pentacles usually, almost always, indicate slow moving energy. This is not something that will be over quickly, but it is something that can be continually inspiring, as long as we, again, don't go it alone. We find other perspectives. We find people to share the work with. This is followed, we have the Queen of Cups, and, whoa, I threw it on the ground, the Ten of Swords. The Queen of Cups and the Ten of Swords has this balance of, I know when things become too much for me. I am so in touch with my emotions, my emotional intelligence, my mental well-being, my intuition, my creativity, that I am able to pause and stop and care for myself before I reach a place of burnout with the Ten of Swords. And I know that the way I'm feeling right now, if it is this really burnt out, kind of hopeless place, that the only way I have to go from here is up. And in order to stand, to rise, I have to decide to care for myself the way that I would want to care for a friend. Bottom of the deck. High Priestess. High Priestess came up 2 weeks ago? Last week? I don't remember. High Priestess as choosing your own path, making your own entry into anything, into institution, into, a specific field, into a specific practice. High Priestess is making your own way to divinity, to magic, putting in all your own effort to find that inspiration and that path forward. Yeah, dog. That's the reading. What a whirlwind. What a whirlwind. That's some wild energy to have around. But just again, know that any struggle is temporary. Nothing is forever. Which can be said of both good and bad things. And then we do with that what we will. Cool. Let's close the space and move on with our days, shall we? So I'm going to invite you to once again close your eyes if it feels safe and good to do so. Take a couple of breaths. Reimagine that elemental barrier that you put up around yourself. And as I release their guardians Imagine those elements one by one sinking back into the earth or dissipating out into the ether, opening the space and releasing the energy. I release the spirits and guardians of the west of water, the south of fire, the east of air, the north of earth, sending you back to your place in the natural order with praise and with gratitude. I release the spirits, the energy of all those listening back to them whole, complete, and intact. And I take my energy and my spirit back to myself whole, complete, and intact. May we remain friends, though our energies are no longer crossed, corded, or tangled at all, starting now. Take a breath, feel your energy settle into you, all yours. The circle is open, and so it is. Wonderful. Well, my friends, that is it for this week. I hope that you have an incredible week to come. I'm looking forward to my next Sunday update. Again, if you're a paid newsletter subscriber, or if you want to be, I have talked about my struggle with routine. I have OCD, I am ADHD, I have anxiety, and I am using the energy of Virgo season to help me get my shit back together after a really tumultuous and honestly terrible summer. And my paid newsletter subscribers are getting updates every week on how I am using magic to help me do it. So if you would like, you can join my newsletter at the paid tier. It's $8 a month or $80 for the whole year. If you want to know more about my own personal journey, it might be something that I continue, just sending more regular updates about my practice and what I'm doing just to help inspire and bring you along. I also just opened up the Phasecraft Collective Discord for people who take my courses and who are paid subscribers to my newsletter. So if you're a paid subscriber, you get access to the Discord. You will get access to the Discord if you sign up for all 4 of the Autumn Class Series classes. Yeah, that's that update. And then, of course, my prices and offerings updated just over a week ago, too. So I now not only have my 4-card emailed readings, I also do a 7-card tarot and oracle card reading over email. And my prices are updated for virtual readings. You can get a 45-minute reading now. That's new and different. Again, info and links are in the episode description. And that's all I have. So I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you next week.